Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to share with you a story about trust disguised as generosity, emotional betrayal hidden beneath good intentions, and the quiet devastation of discovering the truth too late. Let's dive right into it. I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who snoops through her husband's phone. We trust each other. At least, I used to believe that. Nathan and I met during our junior year in college. We were both volunteers for a weekend community outreach program that helped kids in underfunded neighborhoods with tutoring, meals, and support. That's where we met Lena. She was 19 at the time, just starting her freshman year. Nathan was 22. She had this broken look in her eyes, like she'd seen too much too soon. She barely spoke at first, but Nathan, he always had a soft spot for people like that. He mentored her, encouraged her to keep coming back. And slowly, she opened up. I never got close to her. She was polite, always called me Miss Claire, even when I told her not to. I figured she saw me as some older lady clinging to my college boyfriend. Nathan and I graduated, got jobs, got married, had a daughter. Life went on. Lena, I assumed, drifted away like most of the students we used to mentor. Sometimes, Nathan would bring her up in passing. Lena's been struggling again. I sent her a bit to help out. It'd be $40 here, $60 there. Never frequent enough to worry me. Nathan's heart was too big sometimes, but that's also why I married him. We keep our finances separate, pay bills from a joint account, and let each other do our own thing otherwise. It's always worked for us. Until that night in the garage. It was a regular Tuesday. Our daughter was asleep. Nathan was under the hood of our ancient SUV trying to fix a weird clicking noise. I was sitting on a folding chair, handing him tools and scrolling mindlessly on my phone. At one point, he asked, "Hey babe, can you grab my phone and pull up that diagram I saved? It's in my gallery. Should be the last screenshot. No big deal." I picked up his phone from the workbench, unlocked it. He gave me his passcode years ago and opened his photo gallery, and that's when I saw it. The most recent photo wasn't a diagram. It was a topless woman, cropped just below her eyes, but you could see everything else. The angle was intentionally seductive. Her lips were parted slightly. There was a scar on her chin. My blood ran cold. That scar, I'd seen it before. It was Lena. I didn't say anything for a second. My hand trembled. I turned the phone toward him and quietly asked, "Is this Lena?" He froze. I mean, completely froze, like someone had unplugged him. Color drained from his face, and his voice stuttered when he said, It's more complicated than it looks. More complicated." That phrase felt like gasoline on fire. I handed the phone back to him and said, "Fuck you. Come talk to me when you feel like explaining how this is complicated," and walked inside. 10 minutes later, he came into the living room. Sheepish, sweaty, scared. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stared at him and waited. He started explaining, or trying to. Apparently, Lena has been struggling financially for years. She's on and off drugs, in and out of abusive relationships. Nathan said she started selling pictures of herself online. He stumbled onto her Tumblr by accident, he claimed, and downloaded the picture out of shock. He wanted to confront her, maybe offer more help. I asked him directly, "Have you ever paid her for anything like that?" He looked me in the eye and said, "No, never. I've only ever helped her as a friend." I asked how much he sent her last time. He said he didn't remember. A few bucks here and there. He shrugged. It's not like I'm keeping track. That part, that's what stayed with me. Because Nathan is meticulous about money. He checks our credit card statements religiously, has spreadsheets for our home improvement expenses. He knows how much we spend on coffee each month. But now, he doesn't remember. I didn't argue. I didn't accuse. I just nodded. That night, after he went to sleep, I picked up his phone again. I know, I shouldn't have, but I had to know. I opened the messaging app first. Nothing weird. Their chats were few and far between. A message every couple of weeks, sometimes longer. She'd send something like, "Hope you and your family are well," or "Thanks again. I got groceries today." And he'd reply with a thumbs up or glad to help. Occasionally, she called him dear, but that was it. Nothing flirty, nothing romantic, no photos. No voice messages. No hidden folders. If I didn't know better, I might have believed him. But then I opened his money transfer app, and that's when I felt my stomach drop. Lena's name was everywhere. $500 every single month. Going back 5 years? March 2020, April 2020, May 2020. Every damn month since then. Always the same amount. Always to the same account. I quickly counted. 60 transfers. $30,000. That's not charity. That's not help. That's a fucking stipend. And he never told me. I took screenshots. All of them. Emailed them to myself. Deleted the evidence from his phone. Sat on the floor of our kitchen for what felt like an hour, just staring at nothing. When Nathan came in the next morning, I didn't say anything. I made breakfast like normal, packed our daughter's lunch, kissed him on the cheek as he left for work, because I needed time. Time to figure out what the hell this meant. Was he cheating? If he was, it wasn't physical. There were no love notes, no hotel receipts, no flirty messages, just the photo and the money. But emotionally, he was hiding a second life from me. He knew what he was doing. You don't send someone $500 a month without thinking. That's rent money. That's a mortgage payment. That's our daughter's college fund leaking away drip by drip while he played savior to some girl from his past. Why Lena? Why her? Out of all the people we've helped, all the students we met over the years, why did she get to stay in his orbit? Why did she get his attention, his care, his protection, when I didn't even know she still existed? I thought about texting her, asking her what their relationship really was, whether she saw Nathan as a friend or something more, whether she ever felt guilty accepting that kind of money from a married man. But I didn't, because I wasn't ready for her answer. That day, while my daughter was at school and I was pretending to work from home, I stared at the wall for hours. I remembered all the times Nathan said we couldn't afford a vacation, all the times he hesitated before upgrading our kitchen, the secondhand car we bought even though we could have gone new. He always said he wanted to be fiscally responsible. Turns out, he just had a hidden expense line. And it wasn't me. That night, after putting our daughter to bed, I poured myself a glass of wine and waited. Nathan came downstairs around 9 p.m., his hair damp from the shower, his usual t-shirt and pajama pants. He smiled at me. That same easy, charming smile I fell in love with over a decade ago. It made me sick. "Can we talk?" I said, setting the wine glass down. His smile faded. "Yeah, of course." I gestured to the couch. "Sit." He sat across from me, hands clasped between his knees like a child awaiting punishment. "I looked through your phone." I started. "And your money transfer history." His face twitched. He didn't speak. Smart move. I saw the transfers. Every month. $500. For 5 years. Still nothing. $30,000. "Nathan." He looked down. "I was going to tell you, eventually." "Eventually." I barked out a laugh. "When?" "Exactly. After she sent you a birthday card. Or after you drained our savings." "I didn't drain anything," he said quickly. "Our joint account is untouched. I only ever used my own." "That's not the point, and you know it," I snapped. "You built an entire financial relationship with another woman behind my back. That's not just lying. That's betrayal." "She needed help. So does the world," I shot back. "You don't see me sponsoring ex-addicts from my past." "Why her?" He hesitated. "Because I feel responsible for her." I blinked. Responsible. She was 18. A kid. And I encouraged her to stay. To be part of the program, I thought. If she had someone to believe in her, she wouldn't fall back into that life. And clearly, that worked out great. He ran his hands through his hair, exasperated. "Claire, she's not a threat. There's nothing between us. I've never touched her. I've never wanted her. But you've chosen her. Over and over again. You've prioritized her. You've lied to me for years." I wasn't lying. I just didn't think it mattered. That broke me. Didn't matter. My husband had funneled thousands of dollars to a woman I barely knew, saved her nudes on his phone, called her dear, lied through omission every step of the way. And it didn't matter. "You know what the worst part is?" I whispered. He looked up. silent. I believe you didn't sleep with her. I believe you didn't ask for nudes. I believe all of it. But that doesn't make it better. He opened his mouth, but I raised my hand. Because at least if you had slept with her, I'd understand what you got in return. But this emotional loyalty to someone who isn't me, this urge to protect her while keeping me in the dark. It's worse. Nathan leaned back, eyes glistening. I never meant to hurt you. But you did, I said softly. And I stood up. I need time. Nathan, I need space to figure out if I can live with this version of you. He didn't stop me as I walked to the guest room. He didn't follow. He didn't beg. Maybe he knew this wasn't something flowers and promises could fix. The guest room was cold, not in temperature, but in the way it made you feel like you didn't belong. I curled up under the extra blanket and stared at the ceiling for hours. I kept thinking about Lena, not just the picture or the money, but her face when she was younger. The girl who once called me Miss Claire like I was someone important. The girl who Nathan thought he could save. Had I missed something all along? I wondered if she knew about me. Not just that Nathan was married. I was sure she did. But if she knew how much space she took up in our marriage, in our lives, in his thoughts. Did she think of him as her hero? Her sponsor? Or something more? Was she grateful? Guilty? Or completely indifferent? The next morning, Nathan made pancakes. Our daughter bounced into the kitchen like nothing had changed. And maybe for her, nothing had. She didn't notice the way I avoided his eyes. She didn't ask why I didn't kiss him goodbye. She just wanted extra syrup. I left the house early, drove around town aimlessly for a while, parked in a grocery store lot and just sat, watching strangers come and go, wondering how many of them were hiding secrets like mine, wondering how many women had discovered the person they loved most was living a life with invisible corners they never saw. Eventually, I called my sister. I didn't tell her everything, just that Nathan had been sending money to someone from our past, that I felt like I didn't know him anymore, that I didn't know what to do. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Do you want to forgive him?" The question hit me harder than I expected, because I didn't know the answer. I still loved him, God. That was the worst part. He was still the man who held our baby like she was the most fragile thing on earth. Still the man who brought me tea when I had the flu. Still the man who made me laugh with stupid impressions and cried when his dad passed away. But he was also the man who spent years pouring parts of himself into someone else, in silence. That silence was what broke me. That night, I didn't sleep in the guest room, but I didn't sleep in our bed either. I sat on the couch until sunrise. Nathan never came downstairs. 2 days passed before Nathan and I spoke again, not just exchanged words. We did that, barely, for our daughter's sake, but spoke like two people who used to be in love. It was a Saturday morning. The house smelled like coffee and peanut butter toast. Our daughter had gone to a birthday party sleepover, and the house was suddenly too quiet. He sat across from me at the kitchen table, looking 10 years older than he did a week ago. "I know you probably don't want to hear anything more from me," he began, "but I need you to know I didn't expect this to blow up our lives." I looked at him, really looked. He didn't seem like a man in love with someone else. He seemed like a man who had made a series of bad choices and convinced himself they were noble. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. My voice was soft, but it carried weight. He let out a long breath. "Because I knew how it would look. Because I knew how you'd feel. Because I didn't want to admit to myself how far it had gone." He stared at his hands. At first, it was just $50 here and there. Then she got kicked out of her apartment. Then she lost her job. And I felt like I was the only one she had. And then it became a habit. A secret I fed monthly. And the photo, he swallowed. That was curiosity, not lust. "I swear to you, Claire, I saw she was posting that stuff and I don't know, something twisted in me. I wanted to see what she'd become. And maybe, deep down, I felt guilty for letting her become it. I wanted to scream, or cry, or both. Instead, I said, "You didn't let her become anything. She made her choices. You made yours." There was a pause. Long, heavy. "Did she ever say thank you?" I asked. "Every time." He nodded. but it never felt like enough to justify it. That's because it wasn't, I said. And that's when I knew. Something inside me had shifted. Not in a fiery, I'm done with you way, but in a colder, quieter way. The kind of shift that happens when you look at someone and realize they're no longer entirely who you thought they were. Maybe they never were. Maybe you just didn't want to see it. We sat in silence for a long time after that. Two people in the ruins of what used to be effortless. A week later, I met with a therapist. Not a couples therapist. Just me. I didn't tell Nathan right away. I didn't owe him that. What I owed was to myself. Space to breathe, to scream inwardly, to ask questions I'd spent years burying under the image of a perfect marriage. The therapist asked me, "What would healing look like to you?" And I realized I didn't know. Was healing forgiveness? Was it walking away? Was it waking up one day and not caring anymore? I didn't have answers, but for the first time, I felt okay not having them. Nathan started sleeping in the guest room, not because I told him to, but because he understood that some boundaries couldn't be ignored anymore. He canceled the monthly transfers. That part was almost laughable, like plugging a leak in a ship that had already sunk halfway. But it was something. He left his phone unlocked, told me I could look whenever I wanted. I didn't, because this wasn't about catching him again. It was about whether I could ever trust him again. Lena never contacted me. She probably never will. And maybe that's for the best. Because the truth is, this story isn't really about her. It's about a man who thought he was doing good while lying to the woman he promised everything to. And it's about a woman, me, realizing that betrayal doesn't always come with lipstick stains or whispered phone calls at midnight. Sometimes it comes with silence, with secrets hidden in spreadsheets and good intentions wrapped in quiet deceit. So where does that leave us? We're not divorced. Not yet. We still go to parent-teacher meetings, still share a Netflix account, still laugh sometimes when our daughter says something ridiculous. But we're not the same. And maybe that's okay. Maybe we're not meant to be. Or maybe we are. Just not right now. I don't know if this story ends with reconciliation or goodbye. But I do know this. I will never again let someone else define what love, loyalty, and partnership should look like. From now on, I get to decide what I deserve. And I'm learning to choose myself, even if it takes me a little longer to get there. Thanks for tuning in to Reddit Stories. New tales drop daily drama, love, or ghostly glories. Hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss the next story we tell. Got thoughts to share? Drop them below. We read them all just so you know.